I remember seeing an article about how autistic people are statistically less likely to be religious, and that made me want to talk about my own views of religion. And I personally don't understand how people unironically believe in a lot of religious concepts, because from an outside perspective, it just sounds pretty silly. You mean to tell me that the planet was populated through incest by people who were kicked out of a garden because they were tricked by a talking snake? And an all-powerful and all-knowing being let this happen because the concept of preventing a premeditated crime violates free will? Because who cares about the intent to do harm? You have to let Timothy shoot up the school first, then you can take action. And according to the Mormon religion, apparently my skin tone was due to a curse by God, because some gold plates that were translated through a hat said so. There was genuinely a time in Japan where people believed their furniture would come alive and a giant skeleton would randomly eat them. And don't even get me started on Jehovah's Witnesses, which is just a glorified doomsday cult, which is defined as a group that believes in apocalypticism and millenarianism, including both those that predict disaster and those that attempt to destroy the entire universe. Basically, if the main selling point of your religion is that the world is going to end, you're likely a doomsday cult. Like, do we not see how silly some of these concepts are? But one of my biggest gripes comes from the concepts of demons and Christianity, because I still don't understand how people unironically believe in the concepts of evil spirits. As I mentioned in my other video, if demons really existed, they'd be doing a lot more than just playing with the lights and levitating stuff. They'll be throwing cars through your window, putting black holes in your living room, and turning your entire life into a Beetlejuice movie. I also have this character called Larry that's essentially how I imagine demons would behave if they existed IRL. It's on Newgrounds if you're interested. And as a rebuttal, we have niggas who say that the greatest trick the devil ever pulled was convincing the world that he never existed. Now that quote goes hard until you realize the entire thing falls apart by contradicting the devil's whole character. Satan is established to be very prideful, and one of his primary motives was to turn people away from God and be worshipped. So tell me, how the hell does this quote match any of those traits? Yeah, I get the whole the devil is clever thing, but the concept of haunting people literally goes against their goal. Cause if people aren't aware of your existence, how the fuck are you gonna get them to give a shit about you? Especially if you're scaring your potential followers, which brings me to another thing. If you're arguing that their goal is to turn people away from God, why would you give humans a reason to look to God for protection? Cause by successfully haunting people, you're pushing them to accept the concept of gods and demons, and that demons are the ones trying to harm them. Like, realistically, Satan is more likely to present themselves as a savior to mankind as a false influencer. Not only will that be infinitely more effective, it'll also be consistent with his character. I also feel like a lot of Christianity is aware of how dumb a lot of these concepts sound, hence why they never fully commit to the bit. Cause if we establish that demons have the power to influence humans, then why isn't that a valid defense in the court of law? Or better yet, why isn't the existence of God brought into the gender debate? God has no physical form and isn't bound by any biological sex or limitations, but still identifies as he/him, despite not having a penis or XY chromosomes. But we still respect his pronouns for some reason. And before you say God is beyond our understanding or he is the almighty or something, no, that doesn't work here. God is a sentient being that exists in our reality who consciously go by male pronouns despite not fitting the biological criteria of being male. So his biology is part of the conversation now. If you truly believe there is a God, then he is objectively a factor in this conversation. Also, how come almost every extreme use of the supernatural that's present in the Bible is almost always attempted to be written off as a metaphor or a parable? Like, oh no, angels didn't forenate with humans to create giants. The giants were a metaphor for corrupted kings. Or when the Bible mentioned practicing witchcraft, oh no, it wasn't actually witchcraft, they weren't actually referring to magic. Like, bro, stop half-assing it and just fully commit to the chaos. But that's all I want to talk about. Bye.